Good day, greetings, and hello, dear friends. Have you ever wondered how companies or enterprises manage to sensibly store vast amounts of information? For example, information on employees? They of course save the information in tables and databases. But this usually doesn't happen with Excel or whatever, but instead with the database language SQL. SQL means Structured Query Language and is currently supported and also used by nearly all database systems. SQL is a database language that enables structured queries to database systems. We will now look at what exactly this means. Seems quite legit, huh? SQL, get it? Seems quite... Okay, never mind. Let's continue with the text. We now already know that SQL is a database language, but what exactly does that mean? SQL is built on relational algebra and, as already mentioned, is used by many companies and programmers. At the moment, we don't need to worry about what exactly relational algebra is. We'll look at that later in another video. Advantages of SQL are, for example, that it is built in a relatively simple way and is related to the English language. Another advantage of SQL is that it's case insensitive. This means that it doesn't matter whether we use capital or small letters. That's a pretty cool thing, but what exactly can you do with it and why do we want you to learn it? Roughly speaking, you can do three things with SQL. First of all, creating database tables. After all, we need some kind of basic structure made of tables and lines in which we can write the information. Here, for example, we can see a basic structure for the stored information about a film. We now only have the columns of the basic structure. These contain the name, the costs, the genre, and so on. These columns are also called attributes. Secondly, you can edit these databases with SQL. We of course also want to transfer information to the table, otherwise it would be pretty pointless. In our table film, we of course also want to add certain information on films. We could now add the film Iron Man to the table, for example. Wicked film. To do so, we enter a certain value into every column. This information is also called attribute value, and the new row thereby contains all information on Iron Man. The entire row is now also referred to as tuple. This means that one table can consist of several tuples. So we of course want to be able to edit our database again later. For example, if we have entered the cost incorrectly and now want to change that. In the example, we simply change the costs of 140 million to 145 million. If Iron Man is no longer needed in the database because now we have the Hulk or someone like that, we can of course also delete Iron Man from the table. The final feature is that we can query our database with SQL. What exactly do the queries mean? We now have Iron Man and 50 Shades of Grey in the database, for example. Our task is to output all films of the genre eroticism. Ooh la la, eroticism. Okay, back to our topic. So we want to make a query to the database with SQL. As our output, we want all films categorized under the genre eroticism. These outputs are now presented in table form. In our example, we only get 50 Shades of Grey as our output. Of course, we could also categorize 50 Shades of Grey under the genre horror, but that's a different matter. In summary, we can remember that SQL is needed to create, edit, and make queries. So, what do we need to know about SQL? SQL is a database language supported by many databases and built on relational algebra. The biggest advantage of SQL is that it has a simple structure, is related to the English language, and is case insensitive. With SQL, we can create database tables, edit these tables, and send queries to them. In the next videos, we will look at how exactly we can use SQL and how SQL is structured. So people, click away and we'll see each other in a bit. Bye!